Hello everyone, my name is Solomon SK for Coffee and RPGs, and firstly I just want to say thank you so much for your guys' support from my previous video on the Naru gear. I feel obligated to make a second video because there was a lot of things that I learned since I made that video, and also unfortunately there's also a lot of misinformation as well, so I do apologize for that. So with that being said, if you guys got your coffee ready, let's go over these new information together. Cheers to you guys. So first things first, I mistakenly said in the previous video that the Naru gear is only for the season characters, but that couldn't be further from the truth. So for the previous season, I made a Meiwa, and she's obviously graduated by now. But if you take a look, I could still talk to Fugar and still get Naru gear in exchange for beginner Blackstones, as you can see here. But there are a few requirements that you need to do in order to be able to exchange your beginner stones for Naru gear at Fugar. A lot of people will say that you have to have completed the Calpheon main storyline in order to do this, but as you can see here on my Guardian, I am in the middle of the Calpheon storyline, and yet I'm still able to exchange my beginner stones for Naru gear, as you can see here. And if you are curious, the very last quest for the Calpheon storyline is under Qualities of a God, with the last quest here being Looking for Adventurers. So I have not completed it, and yet I'm still able to exchange it once again, as you can see here. But that doesn't mean that you get to exchange your beginner stones for Naru gear right off the bat when you make a new character. As you can see here in my quest list, I have just started and I'm still in the Belanos area of the map. But then if I go ahead and talk to Fugar and click on chat and whatever, it doesn't allow me to exchange my beginner stones, even though I have one in my inventory. So based on my little research here, the only area between Calpheon and Belanos would be Serendia right over here. So it is my conclusion that you have to have at least completed the Serendia main storyline in order to exchange your gear, like I said, at Fugar. So again, while doing research for this video, I couldn't find anything concrete about the exact specifications and the requirements in order to do the Naru gear exchange. It just says that you could exchange beginner Blackstones to Fugar for a full set of Naru gear, but it just doesn't say when. Also, Grumpy Green is actually a really good guide, and I'll have a link to their guide in the description below if you're looking for something of a more traditional guide in a form of an article rather than a video. Before we move on, there is one circumstance where I wasn't able to get Naru gear at all, and that is when I tried to obtain it with a character that is at least a year or two old. As you can see, I have two beginner Blackstones in my inventory, and when I try to talk to Fugar, I cannot get the exchange window to pop up, even though I have completed all the main storylines up to Kamasilvia, as you can see here. And it is my assertion that the quest that is the requirement to complete in order to get Naru gear from Fugar is not included in the older characters quest line, and let me explain. So I made my Musa back in 2018, and as you can see here in the side-by-side comparison, the older character has Beginning of a Journey listed with 103 quests listed under its category. But then if you look at the quest line for your Hashashin, for example, which is obviously a very new character, you'll see that the quest in the Calpheon and even Serendia has been broken up into various subcategories, as you can see here. So about a year ago, Black Desert Online went through a quest revamp from Pearl Abyss, where they allowed the character to select various quests with different options. It gave the quest line a little bit more personality, a little bit more character, and the illusion of choice. But at the end of the day, all the quests would end the same way for all characters, regardless of what you chose. It's a nice touch, but this is the change that is making me think that's why you're unable to obtain Naru gear for characters that are at least a year or two old, especially a character that you've made during the launch of the game. But I could be completely wrong about that. Maybe older characters can get Naru gear. I just haven't figured out a way. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to find anything while doing research either. So if there are any information about this, please let me know down in the comment section below. I definitely do appreciate it. And to those of you who actually made a character before the introduction of the Naru gear, you'll notice that you've got gear such as Caesar's gloves, Amerigo's shoes, and Crewhorn helmet. Now, these are the old gear that you would get as a reward when you went through the quest line, and these are no longer the rewards given out because, again, they've been replaced by the easier and more efficient Naru gear. Now, in the first video, I said that I felt that the Naru gear wasn't worth it, and I still hold that opinion, but there's a huge but to that now. As I was leveling my Hashashin this season, as well as all the information that I received from you guys from the comment section, I've learned that it actually is worth it if you obtain the beginner stones through questing and the loot drops that you get when you progress forward. Now, in the previous video, I said it wasn't worth it because I, for the sake of the video, decided to obtain all my beginner stones by heating the black stones themselves. And through this particular method, yeah, it's not worth it because you're going to leave a huge hole in your bank account, and it's just, yeah, I don't recommend doing what I did in that previous video. But because everything in Black Desert Online is usually a marathon and not a sprint, by obtaining beginner blackstones through questing alone, as well as the loot drops that you get from defeating monsters, it definitely is worth it. And as you can see here, I was able to max out all my Naru gear. Accessories can only be leveled up or enhanced up to tri-level, while weapons and actual gear can be leveled up all the way to pen. And again, I was able to do this solely from getting the blackstone or beginner blackstones that I got from questing, as well as mob drops as well. And in this case, yes, it is worth it. Now, there might be a circumstance where you just need to get one gear up to pen or whatever level, and you don't have any more beginner blackstones. In that case, yeah, go ahead and heat up some of your blackstones in order to get beginner blackstones, but definitely don't do that for all your Naru gear in your inventory because you're gonna be burning through millions and millions of silver. And if you are curious, a full set of enhanced Naru gear will give you an AP of 140 and a DP of 194. And no, there is no awakened version of the Naru gear, unfortunately. Now, what about using Valk's Cry or Advice of Valk's as well as Cronstones in leveling your Naru gear? In my opinion, it's not worth using because, like I said before, Black Desert Online is a marathon and not a race. You could definitely get to pen without having to spend any of these special items, considering Cronstones go for maximum 2 million silver each, with a minimum of 1 silver if you decide to heat certain outfits from the Black Desert Online store. Because when you fail, it only loses 2 durability, so not much is lost, fortunately. And even when going from duo to tri-level, you'll still get a 54% chance, assuming you do have the +2 perma stack here from doing the encyclopedia quests. Now, if you want to put a Cronstone in, it's not that big of a deal because at this level, it only requires 1. And when going from Tet to Pen, even then it only requires 3 Cronstones, which still isn't that bad, but I'd still save them anyways if you're really trying to nickel and dime everything in this game and penny pinch. But I went ahead and not use it. And as you can see here, without using or spending any additional items, I was able to get a pen Naru gear within 5 minutes. And as I said before, if you're looking to get more beginner stones because you're in a quick bind, you can go ahead and under heating, go ahead and place your stones and start. And as you can see here, we get a beginner blackstone. And for whatever reason, maybe you're in a really tight bind, maybe this is almost the end of the second season and you need something now and you need the process to go a lot faster, go ahead and grab some blackstone powder, put them in the heating thing as well as your stones. And if you hit start, you will get them 10 at a time rather than 1 at a time. But do know that there is a system in place where you can exchange your Naru gear for Tuvala gear, but those are still only meant for seasoned characters. And even then, you're not allowed to trade your Naru gear for Tuvala gear until you have completed this quest here called Apocalyptic Prophecy. And that is under the Relieving the Darkness category, which is the very end of the Medea quest line. And just for the lulz, I'm just going to go ahead and spam enhance without using any items to boost my chances or anything like that. So let's go ahead and see how long this takes. Not that long at all. Wow, already pen weapon there. And that concludes today's episode of my Naru Gear Guide 2.0. I really do appreciate it if you made it with me so far, because the watch time significantly helps with the algorithms. Thank you again for being patient with me. I really hope that this video remedies some of the mistakes that I made in the previous video. So thank you for that. And I really hope that I have earned your subscription in today's episode. If so, please consider hitting the subscribe button down below, as well as the bell notification icon right next to it. I definitely would appreciate that. But anyways, everyone, I will finally let you guys go. Hope you guys have a blessed night, and I will see you guys next time. Cheers again, everyone.